All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Mondays Down South, coming at you after week 2 in the NFL. Just an awesome day of football yesterday. I don't know what we did to deserve such great games, but an absolute blast. Not just that, but the college games. There were some epic games, Tennessee, Georgia on Saturday. Just an awesome weekend of football. I'll pass it over to the guys here before we jump into the teaser, the brain teaser for today.
Zach, go ahead.
Yeah, I was really hoping Evan wouldn't bring up college football because my starting quarterback got hurt, and I hope he comes back soon because it's hurting my heart. But I know Zach really didn't want him to bring up college football, so I'll leave those comments for Zach because I don't want to hurt his feelings too early in the episode.
All I'm saying is John Gruden, baby. John Gruden. That's our only hope. John Gruden. It's hilarious. So Virginia Tech's head coach got fired. We started 0-3 this season with yet another lost to Old Dominion University. I mean, Virginia Tech has got to be the worst Power 4 team right now in the league. You thought UCLA was bad. Virginia Tech takes the cake, undisputably. Brent Pry's gone. Now we have to try to scramble, put the pieces back together, and put together a pretty handsome offer here. And John Gruden has already been made aware, and he just seemed so disinterested in his Barstool Sports post about the Hokies. So I don't know what's going to happen here. I'm done talking about college football. And if you guys want, I can go ahead and explain the prompt and we can jump right back into it. You guys ready?
He's ducking it hard, not letting me say anything. But, I did troll you with the Dukes hat a little bit here. As I guess, what does that make Tech the fifth best team in Virginia right now? Because UVA is obviously better. We're obviously better. ODU's obviously better. Liberty sucks, but they might be better than Tech, too. I don't know, man. That's
Dude,
William and Mary. William and Mary, maybe?
Yeah, UVA had 700 yards of offense against whoever they played.
UVA looks pretty good. Yeah, we'll have to see. Yeah. But anyways, kick us off.
I know. It's bad. All right, cool. So for this brain teaser for the NFL, we've kind of done different – we tried to switch it up differently each time, but obviously it's going to alternate between me, Cy, and Evan. And for this brain teaser, we are going to pick a quarterback-wide receiver combo. And we're going to get progressively better. So we have to be very diligent here and not screwing each other over immediately. Like if I say, Peyton Manning and Marvin Harrison right off the jump, that gives Evan maybe 3 or 4 names before we've topped out. So we got to start at the bottom and we got to slowly build our way up one stair at a time until we get to the elites. So we're going to run this for 4 minutes. And if you guys are ready, I will kick us off.
And start.
All right. The first one, let's go Tyrod Taylor and Sammy Watkins, Buffalo Bills.
Wow, what a deep pull. I love it.
You're up.
I was so excited for the first one. I was like, how random is he going to get? I'm wondering if this is too good to start, but let's go Kirk Cousins, Pierre Garçon.
Are you joking? I was just about to say Kirk Cousins, Pierre.
Oh, really?
Wait,
what?
That is hilarious.
How is that possible?
Oh, that's so funny.
Wow.
I genuinely that was the first one I thought of. All right, I'll jump to the next one. Let's go with I can't believe after you take such a deep cut one, then I have to adjust. I will go with, because we got to pick someone better than that, but you've already amplified it a little bit. I think I could say that even though as a quarterback, I wouldn't say he's as good. I would say as a combo, they were better. So I'm going to say Justin Fields, DJ Moore for the 1 year that they had their epic showing.
I'll go Kyler Murray, Marvin Harrison Jr., what they're building.
That's a fringe one there. They're building it.
I don't think that's better. I don't know, man.
The potential. Marvin Harrison Jr. is top 10 pick. All right, Ev, you're up.
All right. Let's see. It's a little too good. Russell Wilson, Tyler Lockett.
It's a good one.
I like that.
I'm going to go with Matt Stafford, Golden Tate.
I'm going to go with David Carr, Andre Johnson.
Ooh.
Oh, I was not expecting that one.
It's pretty good.
I like that.
Carson Palmer, Chad Ochocinco.
That's a good one.
That's a jump.
That's a good one.
Jump now. Now we jump.
I feel like we had some good ones in there,
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna bring back quarterback. You already said. I'm gonna say Kirk Cousins, but this time with Justin Jefferson.
It's pretty good.
Okay.
I'm not sure some of these are better, but I'm not gonna fight.
I'm gonna go Matt Ryan, Roddy White.
Ooh,
See, I feel like that's not. Well, that might be better than size. I don't know if it's better than.
I think it's better than Carson Palmer. Ochocinco's a stud, but Matt Ryan's definitely a better quarterback. Carson Palmer.
If you gave him Julio, that would have been.
No, that's way.
I just couldn't. That's too good.
Too much of a jump. No, that's not better. Let's go. I don't know what to go with here.
I'm thinking of it from a short-term versus long-term lens. So some of those short-term ones are fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to
pick some of the recent ones. If you kind of like run into a roadblock, you can pick like the existing ones, and then you got more time to try to do the historical ones.
I was gonna say Jalen Hurts, AJ Brown, but I don't think that's better.
That's a good one. Yeah.
I'm not convinced it's better, but
all right, I'm gonna give you because I think we should probably go for one more minute or at least. So let's say another minute and a half. So with that in mind, I'll go with Drew Brees, Michael Thomas for the 2 year, 3 year span.
Okay. Let's go. Tony Romo, Des Bryant.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Nice, Zach. Now you're getting into that starting in elite territory.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Brady, Randy Moss. Shorter amount of time.
Actually,
because it's not. It was only for a year.
I think that's fair. I also think that I technically want to include tight ends that were elite too. So I think there's some better.
Yeah, tight ends count. Yeah,
because otherwise I would have said some other people. But actually, that's fair because you're saying for a short period of time.
Yeah.
With that in mind, I might actually have to go. This is going to be interesting because this could be up for debate since I would say the 1 year was more elite, but they played together a few more years. So I will argue Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp, since they had a couple years of them playing together, and obviously Kupp had that 2,000-yard season with them. So can make a similar argument there.
Shoot, I guess you got to go. I was going to say Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs. That does not beat Brady, Moss. Aaron Rodgers, Greg Jennings. No.
I was going to say that. I was going to say that one in the middle. I don't know.
You can make an argument for Rodgers, Devontae, though.
That's true. I'll go Rodgers, Devontae.
Because how long were Rodgers and Jennings overlap?
Like a couple years.
It wasn't as long as Adams is a good one.
But Rodgers, Devontae Adams is like one of my favorite combos ever. Those two are elite chemistry. This is where we're getting into like.
We're pretty much at the end, so
I'll give you one. Drew Brees, Jimmy Graham.
I was going to go Mahomes, Kelsey. Get the tight ends in there. You know, there's not many. I mean, you can go with all the legendary ones.
Finish off with the top ones. I'm trying to, but
let's go Phillip Rivers, Antonio Gates.
That should have been in there probably before Mahomes, Kelsey. So, but same too. Well, I guess they played together for. No, I would say it would be Rivers, Gates, and then immediately after Kelsey, because obviously we're leaving the best combo still to be had. But I will argue that Peyton Manning, Reggie Wayne was better than any of those.
Okay.
Cam Newton, Steve Smith. No, I will say, in all seriousness, Matt Ryan, Julio Jones beats Peyton and Reggie Wayne.
I'll give you the nod. I'll give you the nod on that. I think it's
Ev,
if
back
even
to you.
two.
I don't know what else I got here. I mean, if we keep with tight ends, Brady, Gronk.
That would be number one in my book. I would say Peyton, Marvin Harrison. I would have said before.
I would have
those
that
two.
higher.
You think you'd have those higher than Brady,
Yeah.
Gronk?
I think so.
You think that's number one? All right, I'll go Peyton, Marvin Harrison with my Colts hat on. Like we'll end it with that. This was fun. You had to get deep.
Joe Burrow, Jamar?
No, not there yet. Not there yet. We should have named them earlier.
Calvin Johnson, Matt Stafford.
We should have named that earlier too. That's not better than Peyton, Marv. They didn't win enough. That's the problem.
Yeah.
It was always a. That's one I wanted to fit in earlier, but we jumped that tier too quickly. You know.
Hey, if you guys are
we didn't have much time.
No.
Let us know. Let us know in the comments if you guys find a different combination. Let us know.
Let me ask you guys a question to wrap up since the segment's done. Right. If you had to take Matt Ryan and Julio Jones, right, what do you put them on tier wise compared to, let's say, Brady, Gronk, Peyton, Marv, Stafford, Calvin Johnson? Like where do you rank them in that tier? Because I would say they're all Rodgers, Devontae Adams.
I think it's at the bottom of what did we say of those six for me. I wouldn't put them over any of those probably.
I'd put it like 5 out of 6.
I think there's a conversation to. I think Calvin Johnson, I would argue, is like marginally a better receiver. But I think as a duo, I would take Matt Ryan and Julio Jones in their prime together over Stafford and Calvin, just because they made more of a run together on multiple instances, which makes me like kind of have to give them the nod. But I'd say the rest of those I would probably argue were Rodgers, Devontae is also arguable, but both of them are elite, so that's where it's hard to number.
Yeah.
So this was fun.
I'm less concerned about winning in this argument, I think.
Yeah. I think it plays a factor. I think if all you do is
dealer's choice,
stats, then then there's a lot of arguments to be had. But I don't know. That's my opinion. That was
dealer's
fun,
choice. Good prompt, Zach.
Thank you.
Nice choice.
All right, so let's pivot over to like the main topic, like we usually do. So this is a classic from every year. I think we might be doing it a week later. I think we maybe usually do it after week 1, but I kind of like doing it after week 2 because like week 1 is can be full of fallacies. So it's the classic overreaction segment. So we're each going to give maybe 2 overreactions after week 2, hot takes, but specifically things that we've changed our mind on to a degree from what we thought going into the season. And then the other 2 panelists will have the opportunity to say if yes, that is an overreaction and they essentially don't agree with that statement, or B, that they actually don't think it's an overreaction and they do agree. So anyone want to start?
Zach, kick us off.
No, I'm just really mad at myself right now because we didn't mention Joe Montana and Jerry Rice, but I feel so dumb right now that there's going to be some old heads that come for us.
Oh, yeah.
Comments,
oh, man.
But I guess this is how you trigger people. But anyway, I will proceed to the overreaction segment. It's going to be an obvious one. I don't even necessarily know whether I do want this to happen, but I also kind of want a different kind of rematch. But it doesn't matter. I'm going to say it anyway. Health permitting, which I think a lot of our takes are going to be health permitting, I do believe that the Green Bay Packers are going to the Super Bowl. And I legitimately believe that they are, like, at least 2 weeks into the season, by far and away the best team in football right now in terms of what I'm seeing from them and their, like, consistency across the board in every, like, position, whether it's run game, pass game, even with Love missing a couple throws, the way they looked against the Commanders, where it felt like he was just comfortable. Like he'd miss a deep throw, but then jump right back in there and hit like a 40-yard, 50-yard pass down the field like it was nothing. You're starting to see more of that veteran confidence come out of him, which is massive. And he's using his feet more. Josh Jacobs is elite. Their offensive line is solid. And then defensively, it is terrifying. Like if I'm a quarterback and I'm standing across from that defense, what they were doing against Jaden Daniels, who I think will go down as one of the better quarterbacks we've seen of this modern generation, they were stacking like 8 in the box and just challenging them to go man-to-man against them. And the corners and secondary was holding receivers for like 5 seconds without any issues, and the defensive line was getting home so quickly. And Micah still didn't even play a full allotment of snaps yet. It's actually insane how good they look. And I know a lot of the media is covering it, and it's easy to say, hey, they look good, but this is why I'm calling it an overreaction. I have a really hard time believing that a team that just did what they did to the Lions week 1, and then we saw week 2 that the Lions aren't just all of a sudden a bad team with how well they played against the Bears, and then to go beat the team that made the NFC Championship and, quite frankly, not even make that game look close by the end of it. It's pretty scary, bro. So I think the Packers are going to the Super Bowl. Like I'm overreacting, but I got to do it.
Zach, what you think? You got that as an overreaction, or?
No, I don't. I think Sai's spot on. I think this team is so complete. I think Jordan Love, the fact that Jordan Love was ranked like that's 17 or like the 13th quarterback on fantasy football rosters, and Bo Nix was 7 or 8 is wild to me. Jordan Love is having a fantastic year, and I see no signs of him slowing down with LaFleur. So, Ed, what about you? What do you think? Overreaction?
I'm going to give slight overreaction, kind of specifically to one point you made that they are the best team in football. And I'm just going to say until the Eagles lose a game, I'm not going to say that anyone's better than them. I do agree. Maybe Green Bay looks better right now, but the Eagles are, I learned this the other day. Did you know they're 18-1 their last 19 games, and their only loss was when Hurts got hurt against the Commanders, and they lost by 3 with Kenny Pickett playing most of the game. That's obnoxious.
Wow.
So until they lose one, the Eagles are the best team in football. But the Packers do look like it right now. And
I'll give you my counter argument to that after this segment, because I think we can start with the Chiefs-Eagles game, and at that point we'll have that conversation. But I'll let you guys keep going with the overreactions.
Yeah, I will talk about that more because the Commanders' game plan for that game was terrible, so I don't want to give all the credit to the Packers. But, Zach, you got one?
Yeah, I got one. I think that the Chiefs are going to miss the playoffs this year. And I know they're 0-2, so, maybe it's an overreaction knowing that, hey, a lot of people have been on the Chiefs bandwagon for a long time, and it's not even really a bandwagon because they've proved themselves. I actually wrote a stat down today. I'm looking at my whiteboard. Chiefs have won 17 straight one-possession games, except for this season. They're 0-2 in one-possession games this year. I think that this is the turn of the tide. I think this is where luck runs out on them. I think they're, 1 year slower, like the Travis Kelce's, the 13-year vets. They've got 2 of their starting receivers out. We don't even know if Xavier is playing week 3. Rashee Rice is dealing with a mess right now with law enforcement. Defense is good. Sai mentioned the offensive line last week. The offensive line, Patrick Mahomes was hit like double-digit times. Obviously this is against an incredible defensive line with the Philadelphia Eagles, but still, I see some big concerns, and I also see the AFC West getting head and shoulders better with Los Angeles Chargers, Denver Broncos, heck, even the Vegas Raiders are 1-0 right now. And as we have this podcast, the Chargers and the Raiders are about to square off tonight. So, I think that the Chiefs are 0-2. They have a high likelihood of going 0-3. They play the Ravens week 4. And things can get really, really far away from them if they don't control themselves. Why?
I love how you just threw in there that they have a high likelihood of going 0-3 when they play the Giants this week, who we know you love.
4.
Now,
that's what I'm saying.
4.
It's going to be interesting when we get to the pick segment. We know what Sai's going to say to this, but obviously we'll give him his time to do it. I'll just jump in because you kind of stole mine. Mine's a little different, and
okay.
I'll say mine was that they're going to finish 3rd in their division. I wanted to do this before the season, but I didn't have the confidence to do it. So I'm going to do it now. And I'm going to say they finished behind both Denver and the Chargers. My issue and where you maybe are overreacting is if you look at the strength of the AFC now without Joe Burrow and how some of these other teams look, it's not going to be that hard to get the 7 seed. So that's where I had a little bit of pause. In terms of saying that they won't make the playoffs, but I do think the other 2 teams in that division are just better. The Chiefs, they just don't have a lot of answers on offense right now, and obviously they're going to get Worthy and they're going to get Rice back eventually, but like Kelce looks washed. He basically cost them the game this week, and it's basically just have Mahomes run around and try and create plays, and that's not doing a whole lot for them, and they can't run the ball, so the defense looks a little bit older, so.
I wish that Zach had made that take as the second overreaction, so then we could have rolled right into the Eagles-Chiefs game, because then I would be able to take a lot more time to say this. But I'll just say this very quickly in terms of overreacting. It's an overreaction segment, so I like that you did it during an overreaction segment. which had the team that just made 5 of the last 6 Super Bowls, won 3 of them, has not been beaten in the AFC outside of the one time by Joe Burrow in the AFC Championship in overtime. We are now projecting to not make the playoffs after 2 weeks into the season, which is missing. Lost Xavier Worthy, the first play of the year, so obviously out. The number one receiver after the number one receiver got suspended for 6 games, right? And they ended up losing by 1 possession to the Chargers, who Evan and Uzak were really high on coming into the year, so they didn't lose to some scrub of a team. And then just had a 1 possession game against the defending champions that Evan just mentioned, have basically not lost the game in almost the whole season, and lost by 1 possession with both of those receivers out, and with not having played the greatest game ever, and with Eric Spagnuolo adjusting the way that I said he would. And even though Patrick Mahomes got hit, I put that less on the offensive line as much as I do with the run game being non-existent and Mahomes having to scramble a bunch, so he took a bunch of hits outside of the pocket. The part that I'm struggling with is, and this isn't even a you, Zach, and a you, Evan thing, it's media, talking about the Chiefs as if like, oh yeah, I mean, like, they're 0-2, and it's, I get that they have Worthy and Rashee Rice out, but it's like no big deal. No, it is a huge deal. Like, if you take any great team that whose offense hasn't been exceptionally great recently, but they've still been making Super Bowls, and you take their 2 best wide receivers away, obviously it's not going to look good, especially when you play 2 elite defenses and you still have 1 possession games against them. It's just really funny to me that the media as a whole can turn to leave very quickly. I think part of the sentiment is that people really want badly for them not to be good, which is what, creates the bias of, oh, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. But I don't care if this team starts 2-4, which they very likely could, based off the issues that they're having on offense. I still very strongly believe they'll make the playoffs, and I'd be willing to bet a lot of money they'll still win a playoff game this year. So not only do I think they're going to make the playoffs, I think they'll definitely win a playoff game this year. I'm very confident in that, and I'll stick with that.
I think the only place I'll challenge you, Cy, is because admittingly I thought that the Eagles were going to crush the Chiefs, right? Like, I think I'd said something like 30-something to 10 or whatever, and it was a much more close game. So I will absolutely give you and Evan credit there, because I came off pretty intense on like how the Eagles are going to demolish the Chiefs last week. But the way you're kind of positioning the game, the Chiefs-Eagles game, and it being 1 possession and it was like, oh, the closest game ever, is like very similar to someone saying that the Panthers played the Cardinals like to a 1 possession game, which it was like 27-22. Like, the Chiefs led for 2 minutes that entire game out of the 60-minute football game, and it was 2010 towards the end when they kind of had this, like, the Eagles obviously shifted their defensive scheme to keep the ball in bounds, to keep the clock moving. So I'm just going to say that, it wasn't as close as you're implying.
Okay, so if we're going to paint that narrative, Zach, then let's talk about it, because we're going to get into the game in a little while anyway. So you teed this up. By that logic, the Chiefs had the ball in the 4th quarter in a game where they were down 3 points, had an over 15-play drive, got into the red zone, and were about to take the lead. Patrick Mahomes threw the ball into Kelsey's hands, and Kelsey made an extremely uncharacteristic error where the ball bounced off his hands and a surefire touchdown pass and bounces into the Eagles defender's end and runs it back that many yards. You cannot tell me that a play that they probably convert 8 or 9 out of 10 times that flipped the game in the 4th quarter, if they make that play, then it's you could honestly say they end up winning that game. So it was an extremely close game. Like, let's not act like it wasn't one play that made a massive difference in that game if you want to talk about that narrative. The flip side of that conversation, as I said, the reason that, and Evan said the same thing, the reason we felt the Chiefs might win this game is from the gutsiness. And then I made the argument that they're going to make the adjustments on defense with Spags to make the difference. That play was unfortunate. The offense didn't look great. I won't dispute that. Mahomes did some Mahomes things, which kept them in the game, and they almost took the lead. But defensively, they looked way better than people gave them credit for after week 1. And your boy Jalen Hurts that you were defending last week had 110 yards of total offense. They won the game, but this is the exact argument I made coming into the week. It's not like Jalen Hurts is the reason the Eagles always win games. It's because they have this great support system around him. And he made some terrible throws that he is very lucky didn't get intercepted, which is what I was talking about when I said turnovers. So if they play that matchup again and Rashee Rice or Xavier Worthy, one of those two are playing, I can make a strong argument that the Eagles win that game. Now, to be fair to the Eagles, they beat them in Arrowhead. So I can't take that away from him, and it makes the environment way more difficult. So they deserve credit where credit's due. I just don't want to act like this game wasn't close to the wire, because in the fourth quarter, that it was one play that made the difference. The Chiefs could have had the lead, and who knows if the Eagles come back if you make Hurts throw the football when you're down. A.J. Brown had, one reception again, because Trent McDuffie shut him down the entire game. Like, let's not pretend like this couldn't have easily shifted the other way. That's all I got to say about that.
And then Trent McDuffie got mossed to basically clinch the game by Devontae Smith. Zach, do you want to hit him with the Jalen Hurts counter to what he just said, which is what Chris Jones said?
No, I mean, like a win is a win, and the fact that Jalen Hurts had 0 turnovers. But I'm not even going to pin the interception on Patrick Mahomes, because Travis Kelce went right off his hands and into the hands of another defender. So I'm actually not going to play that position, although it was tempting. Yeah.
The reason, though, that I think this take makes sense based on that game is that the Chiefs treated that like their Super Bowl. Like, you just saw the way Kelce was acting early in the game. They wanted to win that so bad after last year, and they still, even at home, with the Eagles treating it like another normal game, like, it was close. I disagree with Zach there, but like, the talent level didn't look overly comparable. It actually went kind of exactly like I predicted, and that they just didn't make that one play. But
but that's what we said going into it, though, Evan. We said if they win that game, it'll be like this gritty, like, one-score victory, which they almost had. The one terrible turnover by Kelce made the difference. But the reality is, this isn't the Chiefs team that we'll see in the playoffs, ideally, assuming they get their guys back, right? Like, their expectation is that they will. Like, I don't think the offense is going to look like this all year. I mean, if it looks like this all year, I agree with you guys. They're not going anywhere. But
they're not going to be able to run the ball all year, I don't think.
That's an issue. I won't dispute that.
Like,
they need to figure that out. But they'll figure something out.
And how big of a hole are they going to dig themselves? Like, Worthy, what are we talking about? Worthy is some kind of savior at wide receiver. Like, he's going to help a lot on downfield shots. He's a good receiver. He's not an alpha number one that's going to change this ball.
He could be, though.
Rice.
No one's I'm not trying to treat Worthy like he's an alpha number one, but he's a significant upgrade over whoever they have. And the other thing we're taking away from Worthy is, did you see what he did in the playoffs and at the end of last season? He was a difference maker for them when Rashee Rice was hurt.
He's good, but
to win. Like, I know it's like a big part.
We don't need to talk about the Chiefs in this much detail every week. I just,
I mean, it's when the overreaction is a team that has made the Super Bowl 5 of the last 6 years, isn't going to make the playoffs. I think it's fair to have a conversation about it.
We have the same conversation every week, though, so let's just see what happens.
They're the best team in football for 6 years. You got to talk about it.
Well, but as Zach mentioned, last year's regular season was a little fluky.
And they still made the Super Bowl. So even if you have a fluky regular season, you beat all the playoff teams, including MVP, the back-to-back MVPs, and you still make the Super Bowl. And even if you get trounced in the Super Bowl, you still deserve credit for making the Super Bowl, winning another AFC championship.
But we're talking about 2025 here. Zach's take was about 2025. And so far they have not won the one-possession games.
The Eagles are going to win. That's what I told you guys last week.
My point is that I think the Chiefs, when they get their guys back, will be better than the Chiefs were last year, is my opinion, because Rashee Rice was out the whole year last year. And when he came back, he got hurt again. So they were not playing with their best receiver last year. And they're going to have 2 of those guys back, 1 more developed. But anyway, we'll talk about the Chiefs plenty in future episodes. I'm just defending the take that they are going to make the playoffs for sure and win a game, in my opinion.
Who's got the next take, Si?
Did you make yours, Evan?
Well, mine was the same as his.
It was like a piggyback one.
They're going to finish 3rd in the division.
Yeah, that's true. Which I look forward to talking about when we get into more of the games. I will say this year, this is going to be a very hot one. So y'all bear with me. And tonight will be a big part of this one, but I need basically Jim Harbaugh to allow their offense to operate similarly to how they did against the Chiefs. By the end of the year, we will say for this year, not overall for his career, but for this year, we will say Justin Herbert played like a top 3 quarterback in the NFL. That is my overreaction. He hasn't even played week 2 yet. But I think with the system that they have in place, with a good O-line, with the run game where he doesn't have to put the weight of the world on his shoulders as he did in prior circumstances. And another thing that I'll point out is Herbert's gotten a lot of crap for his lack of playoff success, but every team he's gone with outside of last year, which was Harbaugh's first year, was with terrible coaching and with good offensive weapons, but not like an elite team around him. I believe that with a good system in place, with him getting Keenan back, even though Keenan's older, and having that safety net with Ladd McConkey developing another year, with Quentin Johnson all of a sudden being good, Omarion Hampton and Najee Harris in the run game. I think Justin Herbert could have an MVP level year, and it would not shock me if we say he has a better year than one of those top 3 guys that we have always had at the top 3 for years and years and years. And I would not be shocked about that. He's a fringe MVP guy. My take was I wanted – you know what? I'm going to say it. I think Justin Herbert will be the MVP. I'll say it. I don't care. Josh Allen's the easy pick. Lamar Jackson's the easy pick. Mahomes is hurting. I want to make an overreaction. I'm going to make a real overreaction. I think Justin Herbert will be the MVP this year.
Dang.
That's my take.
I mean, I love the pick, but I'm gonna have to critique it. That's a huge overreaction.
Critique it. No, I mean,
but
very hot take.
I mean, I'm not even gonna like destroy you on this one. Like I love it. I mean, Evan, you and I both, we all think very highly of the Chargers, their capability. Harbaugh's, an offensive guru, and he's letting Justin Herbert take things off the top. Madison Beer is adding to his play, of course. I mean, hey, I'm all for it. Give him the MVP. Ev.
No, that's an overreaction for sure. Now, yeah, I like the inclusion in the segment. I do think we'll have a great year, and what your benefit is that my MVP pick, I think maybe Zach's is out for basically the year, and Joe Burrow, unfortunately. Jaden Daniels' sleeper MVP pick is going to miss at least one game, which one game maybe won't hurt him, and he's had a couple of bad games, so there's another one knocked off. So you are, and Patrick Mahomes, I don't think is kind of going to play at that level. So your pool of competition is lower than the start of the year. So that does help you, but I'm sticking with Lamar and Josh any day of the week, specifically Josh. But we'll see. That they were going to push the Burrow narrative, and now they can't do that. So I don't know. See what the NFL cooks up.
Yeah, I think statistically speaking, it's going to be. It's funny because it would be easy to say statistically there's no way he keeps up with Josh and Lamar, and a big part of that's rushing. But the flip side is, and the other thing is Harbaugh likes to run the ball a lot, but I think a lot of people forget that what the numbers Herbert put up in his peak season. The guy had a season where he threw for 5,000 yards and 40 touchdowns. He had basically a season that Burrow had last year. And I'm not saying he's going to achieve that again, but if they go on to win a division that the Chiefs have owned for Mahomes' entire career and they end up being a top 2 seed and he plays exceptional football and is very efficient, which I think he will be, there's a real argument to be had for him being MVP. It'd be similar to like when a way better version of it, but similar to when like Carson Wentz won when the Eagles ended up being a high seed in the East. And I think that's kind of the way I see him getting it. And I really think he could. I'm not, to be clear, it's an overreaction. Like if you made me put my bank account on it, I'm probably taking Josh or Lamar. And also if like Worthy never got hurt, I actually did really believe that Mahomes with Rashee Rice coming back could eventually bend that. But with the start to the season, it just felt like a good time to make that take. But you are correct, Evan.
I like it. I don't trust Harbaugh to let him do it. I think week 1 was maybe just a matchup thing. He wanted to throw more and not attack Chris Jones in the run game. But I don't trust Harbaugh more is my issue. But anyways,
I have a pretty blatant hot take. But I've been like thinking about this for a while, and I realized that this could go against my whole like Giants theme. But like I really do think that the Giants defense will tighten up a little bit, and they're gonna have to win this. They got big week 3, right? And I pretty much told you exactly what I think for this week 3 matchup. But I don't think Malik Neighbors is as good as people think he is. And I say that off of the best game of his entire life. And let me explain. People are now trying to label him the 4th best receiver in the league behind Jamar, Jets, and CD. I think he's like a top 10 wide receiver, but I don't think he's a wide receiver. I don't think he's like a top dog, like top 5 wide receiver, because he doesn't have like, he's not the best in anything, right? He's not the fastest. He's not the strongest. He's not a jump ball connoisseur like T-Mac with the Panthers or, Mike Evans used to be in his career. Like he doesn't really have that capability either. He's like a great route runner. He's got good speed. He's like a poor man's Jamar Chase. And I don't mean to say that with too much, distaste, because I love Jamar Chase. I actually prefer Jamar Chase over Justin Jefferson. But there's just something about Malik Neighbors' game where he's not an expert. He's a master of none. And I think that will prevent him from being a top 5 receiver for years to come. What I'm essentially saying is I think despite the fact that he had the best game of his career, this is the perfect time to say this, I think there's going to be a deviation back to the mean. And I think that he's going to have a couple of games where he just doesn't really do anything. And, they've also got Wan'Dale Robinson, who had just as good of a game from a yardage perspective. And they've got Darius Slayton. Like, I think all three of them are going to be in the mix. And I don't really think Neighbors is going to be this standalone guy that everyone now thinks he's going to be because of one game.
I'll let Evan go first. This should be good.
I think I kind of maybe spoiled it, but Zach's we're on the same page here in terms of what we're talking about. But I think this is maybe not top 5 worst takes you've ever made on this podcast, but it's maybe top 10. I do see the angle. So my take was actually about Malik Neighbors, that he is, which I don't even think is that hot, that he is the 4th best receiver in football behind the top 3. That I'll give Amon-Ra St. Brown an argument at 4 just from the consistency standpoint if you want to give it more time. But I think Neighbors and by the end of the year, I think we're going to be saying he's on the same tier as Lamb and pushing. It's hard to put him on the same tier as Jetta and Chase. Those guys are unbelievable. But the thing, I do get the angle because he doesn't have the size and he's not like that imposing physicality. But I just think his route running is elite. His speed is borderline elite. So he can be that just almost Jamar Chase type possession receiver that you can just funnel targets and move the entire way down the field like they tried to do in overtime before Russell Wilson threw it backwards for some reason. It cost them the game pretty much, that they were just going to pepper Malik Neighbors the entire game. But the thing he is maybe the best in the league at is pound for pound, and for his size, his contested catch and body control is ridiculous. Like that catch he made yesterday in the end zone, he does that so constantly, and you saw it early in his career when he was playing with such terrible quarterback play that just could not get him the ball in spots that were good to catch, and he was still making plays. I think back to his second career game in that Cleveland game where the contested catches he was making like in the end zone, and again, not the biggest guy, but he plays so much bigger because of those hands and that contested catch ability. I think that is his elite skill, which makes him top 4 for me.
Yeah, no, I mean, Evan and I were talking about this in the group message for people listening. So Zach obviously saw those messages, and Evan made that take, which is funny because I was already thinking it. I mean, coming out of his rookie year, I felt like this year, especially if he got even marginally decent quarterback play, I felt like more people would start to make that take because we saw more than flashes of it his rookie year. It was just the injury and the lack of good quarterback play that I think held him back from reaching that potential. And Ross had a great game, admittedly, week 2. So the one thing I'll give Zach credit for is he may just get bad quarterback play here and there, and that'll make it difficult for him to be able to continue to show that. But undeniably, this is one of Zach's worst takes, in my opinion. Like, this is crazy to me, especially as Zach being a receiver guru, like, who loves wide receivers and cornerbacks. I'm shocked by this take because the notion that, like, I get what you're saying about being the best at one specific thing sets you apart in that specific category. But I think the notion that you being elite at a lot of different things, even if you're not number 1 at those things, making you not viable for that spot is crazy to me because, 1 and 2 is definitively Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase in our books, right? However you want to do it. You guys think Jamar, I think Justin. I don't think anyone's ever going to disagree with that. And you can say Justin Jefferson because of his route running and hands is number 1, and Jamar Chase because of his speed and athleticism is number 1, right? But CeeDee Lamb is not better than either of them at any of those things. And we all definitively say CeeDee Lamb is number 3. So why is it that Malik Neighbors, who does have elite speed, even if Jamar Chase is a 99, he's 97, 98, who has elite hands. If Justin Jefferson's 99, he's 98, 97, and who is extremely good at route running, who's still above 95 if you're doing Madden rankings. How are you going to tell me that guy isn't capable of being a top 5 receiver and probably arguably is number 5? I argued ASB because I just think a lot of times slot receivers don't get the love they deserve. And Amon-Ra St. Brown has been extremely consistent, scores touchdowns. So, I mean, I think Neighbors could pass him. But, Zach, I challenge you to tell me who out of the available receiving pool, one is better than him to keep him out of the top 5, because you said top 10. Who keeps him out of the top 5? And who out of the available receiving group can even come close to challenging those guys at the top? I'm talking about Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, and CeeDee Lamb outside of Malik Neighbors, because I cannot think of a single individual in the NFL right now who's got the potential to challenge those guys the way Neighbors does. I can't.
Yeah, so I think with my top 5, I'd have Amon at 4, and then I'd have Devontae at 5. But in terms of the potential, I still am high. This is going to go down as a bad take, but you know what? I love it because I'm going to replay this in about 2-3 years. I'm still not sold on Marvin Harrison Jr. not falling into expectations. I think that he could be incredible. He put on 15 pounds of muscle. I know Evan was like, why did he do that? He's not playing running back. I get that. I get that point. But I am not I'm not out on Marvin Harrison Jr. and Brian Thomas from being just as good as that Malik Neighbors echelon. And I know that Brian Thomas was the number 2 at LSU, but so was Justin Jefferson. And Justin Jefferson is 1A and 1B with Jamar Chase. So I'm just saying those two guys excite me still, and I'm not out on Marvin Harrison Jr.
I think if you say that you expect the potential of Marvin Harrison to be higher, even though it might seem wild to people, I get it because you believe that based off where he got drafted and what he did in college and stuff, that he can still get there. I can't be mad at you for that. I think Brian Thomas and Malik Neighbors in terms of production, at least numbers wise, have been similar. But in terms of when I watch football and I see the impact Malik Neighbors has, like on his own and the plays that he is able to make. I mean, Brian Thomas is way better than I gave him credit for, so he's elite. I'm not trying to take that away from him. But Malik Neighbors, the impact he has feels very similar to like how Chase and Jetta felt to me their rookie years and then their second years. Like it feels like the same kind of trajectory. Like rookie year, they both made statements, even though like we weren't already like they're going to be number 1, but we were all like, oh wait, like they could definitely be top 5, maybe top 3 guys. And then year 2, they started off with a bang, which is exactly what Malik Neighbors did. I mean, he almost single-handedly, Wano Robinson had a good game, but in that second half, some of those catches he made were the reason the Giants took that game in overtime, and Russell Wilson had the numbers he did. So, I mean, we could go about this all day, but I like this. I like your take, Zach.
I'm just saying that you're going to see a deviation back to the mean. That's my expectation.
His mean has been exceptional, so I'm good with that. Yeah.
Not in week 1.
Yeah, I mean, bad quarterback. You can't do anything about that.
Can we talk about Brian Thomas's film from this week? Did you guys see this?
No, I didn't.
About how he was like so petrified from contact in this game that he was just stopping routes like mid-route the entire afternoon, which was resulting in incompletions and I think some interceptions. Because he was just so afraid of contact. And Liam Cohen said after the game, he was like, yeah, that's definitely something I need to look at. Like, just go back and watch some of the highlights from Brian Thomas this weekend. He had one of the worst receiver film moments, like, you could ever have. Like, people on Twitter are going crazy about it. If you watch it, it's like anytime a defender gets near him, he would just stop. And then, like, Trevor Lawrence would throw an incompletion and be like, dude, what are you doing? And it actually cost him the game because he had that horrible drop right at the end. So, yeah, bad day for Brian Thomas, although I do like
Brian Thomas.
It was a bad day for Brian Thomas.
Was it Zach who said he thinks the Jaguars are going to win the division? I mean, boy, you're going to let Joe.
I got Houston this year. Houston.
Oh, you got Houston.
Evans got the Jags this year.
Someone had Jake Browning comes in, throws 3 interceptions, and you still lose the game. Are you kidding me? Like that. Like I get it's week 2 with Liam Cohen, but we're in the overreaction segment. But you brought it up. Like what a joke of a week for this team. Like that is straight up embarrassing. Like we get all this hype going into the year. Oh, we got this new coach. Our team's better. Trevor Lawrence is finally going to be good again. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Just nonsense. Like absolute nonsense. They better go win on like a 5-game win streak for them to get any credit. Even week 1 didn't look good. They're lucky enough to want a bad matchup. But anyway, go ahead, Ev.